What's good with the YouTube? You already know, Real Talk with Flacco. This is Flacco himself coming live and direct. And on this platform, what do? We dive into sensitive issues, delicate matters concerning prison, gangs, community, recidivism, as well as addiction. And today, man, I got a returning guest, man. His last interview was a banger, man. And so we're going to do a little bit different direction. As you know, Drama, he's from Chicago, South Side, Latin King. Did about 12 and a half years in the Bureau of Prisons, which is the federal prison system, man. All on UPS, all on is it USP, right?
Yeah, USPs.
All on USP prisons and so forth, which are established penitentiaries, man. When I talk to him right now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk strictly today about the penitentiaries, and then we're going to come back maybe next week or in a couple of days, and we're going to talk more about the Latin King structure and so forth out there in the streets, a little bit more about their activities out there in Chicago, man. But how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Truly blessed. Thanking God I got another. I got another day of breath and to spend around my family and my loved ones, and hopefully continue to make some change in someone else's life and leaving them in the right direction.
We just did a banging interview, guys, and the audio didn't come up, guys. It was perfect, man. It was just legit, man. So we're gonna try to backtrack a little bit about it, man. So take us through the established chain of command that the Latin Kings have in the system.
So you got three different stages. You got your peewees, which are the youngsters up to a certain age, 14, 15. They're sitting here, they're looking up a little bit more to the older school cats, graduating toward the role of how things roll, the respective level, who calls what, who moves what, where the brothers are located, just basically the ins and outs of what the street is like and who's with who and who's with what. And trying to get in that feel, they're in that dummy stage where they're just like learning. Then, you have your second stage where it's just like you already establishing yourself, you're a full-fledged member. You're pretty much a soldier out there. You're putting in work. You're on the corner. You're in the hood. You're rocking your colors, or you're learning your literature, the rules of in and outs. You're moving all over through the city, or some people go from state to state and they embrace other brothers, they establishing their lines of connections or whatever. And then from there, you move up throughout the ranks. You can either become a shot caller for the block, for the chapter. We don't call them blocks, but we call them chapters. And then every one of them chapters, they become a region, So like, you have the Lower South Side. Let's take, for instance, they call it Little Village. You got 27 active chapters. You probably have maybe 50 to 60 brothers per chapter. So you add that up, that's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, that's a lot of numbers.
And that's just that one section. Then you move, you go over to Crown Town, same thing. You probably got a couple handfuls of chapters. You're talking 50, 60.
Who's the top of the top, though?
Oh man, the top is basically our Corona. You have Lord Gino. He's in the federal pen, USP, for the rest of his life. He's got his paperwork in. He's trying to get out. He hasn't seen the street in years. What, 40 years, 50 years, I think. He's pretty much been secluded. We had another one that he finally stepped down and retired. And we have Big T. He's up in. Last time I knew, he was in Victorville, and he's got a lot of time. This is his second Fed bid. And they're very recognized. They're very recognized, throughout the system.
And you spoke about that your group is not a blood in, blood out oath. It's one that you can actually leave later on in life on good terms.
Correct. And see, that's where there was a comment that was put in there in our last video where they were saying, well, how can he speak about a structure and he's still in good standings, or how can you just walk away with life? Well, see, we're not built to use and abuse our brothers and sisters. We embrace our culture to uplift us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not, I'm not saying that other individual groups are crash dummies. I'm just saying that in general is, we want to see people buy homes, open businesses, open doors for other brothers and sisters to move forward. That's what a real family's about.
Yes, that's a real cause, bro, right there. That's what.
Yeah.
Committing crimes or being, involved in prison have to affiliate. Those are just kind of
Right.
like stepping stones that you have to take care of business out
Exactly.
there. It's
Exactly.
like
And
sometimes people will stereotype, okay,
mm-hmm,
the whole gang is this because these dudes are doing illicit
mm-hmm,
activities. A lot of
right.
times illicit activities are due because you have to out in the streets where you're at. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm gonna give you a prime example. You can go to Chicago now, and in our neighborhoods we have bars. We got local bars where you'll catch old school brothers in there talking war stories, drinking beers, having barbecues or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they're very respected because they put in their time and their work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That I can understand. That's respectable. But
Yeah.
some brothers feel in their mind, well, hell, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. And there's
That,
some that are just be like, hey, I put in my time, and brothers embrace them. They still live in the neighborhood, and like I said, I'm gonna give you a prime example. I'm gonna give you one for prime example. Okay, so I had this one brother. He was Serbian. Okay, and he's one of the first white brothers that ever became a Latin king on the South Side, which pretty much South Side is like mostly all
oh,
Mexican,
yeah.
all Mexican, right? So, but he established himself, him and his brothers. They were straight killers, man. They were with the business in the joint. They were stabbing COs. They were doing it all, And he did, I think, about 25 years for a murder, and then he
Yeah.
came home. When he came home, they threw him a welcome home party. He was coming out of the bar with the guys. Well, them people from the rival gang, that even though it came 25 years later, they didn't forget. So they peeped out the scene. He got shot up 8 times. While he was laying up in the hospital recovering from his wounds, he caught a federal indictment over a phone call.
Oh, wow.
For a purchase of a firearm. You see what I'm saying? So I remember when he came to Kentucky, he was in a walker. He couldn't even walk. He was wearing braces. But guess what? He was still screaming kill. I'm like, brother, you like 60 years old. Like, but that's what's instilled in his mind. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
he had the opportunity to set back but some people, that's just what's in our heart. You know what I'm saying?
So we were talking too also, right? I want to touch on this because there's a comment too that people thought that you were hating on Sureños.
Right.
No.
No.
You kind of cleared that up. I wish you guys could hear this other interview. It was just as good.
Okay, so let me get this clear around the on the board. Okay, first and foremost, I got love for anybody as a man that's got love for me. You know what I'm saying? Every group is different. I established a lot of relationships with a lot of groups. Unfortunately, I only had a few relationships with some Sureños, but they were some good guys. You know what I'm saying? There were some really good guys. There was Boxer from Tortilla Flats. We had a good, respective relationship. Hell, one of my boys saved his life out there in USP Canyon when the Paisas were about to stab him. And my boy wasn't even supposed to get involved, but he did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was, and dude is a hand. You know what I'm saying? So, we got a good relationship. Then there was one from El Segundo named Coro that was moved from also from Tortilla Flats. One, two cats from Playboys. Like, I got good friends. I gave, for the company I work for, I got a couple of them that work for me. They left LA. They were tired of being used and abused. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just wanted to build their life with their families, and they could never do that because they were always called upon. You see what I'm saying?
Now you tell the story about when Black Candy hit the yard over there. First there was the associate, right?
Right.
Which was the youngster with the horns, right? Boxer?
Right. He's from no. Boxer was actually Boxer was actually the one that was the black hand. The one that I was talking about he was from Oxnard.
Okay.
He's from Oxnard, California, right? That's how you pronounce it?
Yes.
So he had the horns on his head, and he came in. The Sureños were barely coming back on the yard because they were rotating him out with another joint. And he came on the yard, and he pulled up on the guys, and he's like, hey, I'm such and such. The word was that he was a camarada. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have their stepping stones.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
from what I heard,
yeah.
that he was a camarada. So them dudes got juice. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
they're working under the directives of a metal.
Exactly. But see, they didn't believe him because he was so young. He was like 23, 24 years old, tossing cat. But from what I'm hearing is this dude's put in some work, and he was on a big case with one of them, the hands that was in USP Lee. They didn't believe him. Whoever had the yard at the time was like on a little power trip. So what did they do? They ended up whipping him. He says, okay. He was in his feelings. He said, but it's going to come to light. Boxer came from Cannon. It was a bad scene. Boxer cleaned it up really quick. You see what I'm saying?
He went to every one of you guys, all the groups on the yard, huh?
Oh, very respectable. He was like, hey, listen, you know, this, that, and the other. If you got any issues with any of my guys, come to me. If they disrespect, I'll clean it up. We had a good relationship. There was an incident where the Colombians had got into it with one of my guys. He sucker punched him down in one of the units. So two of my boys jumped on the Colombian. And what ended up happening is
Cartel Colombia?
Yeah, these were, well, one of the guys that was in that circle with the Colombians was actually running around with Pablo Escobar. Half of his side was like where you could tell where he got hit with a machete. He was walking like his left hand was paralyzed, but he was a millionaire. So what happened is that the Tango Blast, since it was their yard, because they were about 300-400 deep on that yard, they were extorting him for protection. You see what I'm saying? So when my boys took off on him in the unit, they got off on the black Colombian, one of his associates. It came on the next move. Everybody came out to the yard. We got up with our people, with the GDs, the vice lords. They're ready to get our backs. And we told the Tango Blast, don't involve yourselves in this because it has to do with us and them. But they're like, well, no, he's under our protection. So then what ended up happening is we'll light up the yard then. Let's go. So Boxer came to me and he was like, listen, man, he pulled me to the side. He said, with all respect, man, he said, I know how you guys roll. I know you guys got to do what you got to do. He says, but we're going to have to get involved. And I don't want to do that because we have a good relationship established with y'all here. You see what I'm saying? And
so they were going to assist the Tango Blast?
They were going to assist the Tango Blast. And the reason is because since we had blacks in our car, they can't see blacks. They can't stand idle and watch blacks take off on Hispanics. You see what I'm saying? So they use that. It's like a racial tension. You feel what I'm saying? Now, at the end of the day, I don't care what people say. I don't see that's right. You feel what I'm saying? If it's a car that's crashing with another car, let them go. You know what I mean?
Like you said, some of those dudes out that way are Crips and Bloods in the streets with gold teeth on the streets.
That's my thing. And, you're going to assist the Tango Blast, but, no offense. I've met a few good Tango Blasts. Don't get me wrong. They hated their politics because there was no rules and regulations. They're just running wild. That's the reason why they pulled from the FAMAS, because they didn't want to fall in line with, checking paperwork, homosexual activities, sexual charges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm saying? They just want to just do what they want. Something similar, like I even seen with some of with the Bulldogs. You see what I'm saying? I met a couple good ones.
What was up with the Bulldogs in the feds? Were they other guys?
The Bulldogs, they were lost, man. They were like, it was crazy because I was on yards with Sureños and Norteños, and they were on both yards, and they were falling into their politics.
So they were falling into Sureños or Norteño politics?
Yes. And I even seen them take off on their own to assist them. You know what I'm saying? I was on a yard where you had a handful of Bulldogs running with the Sureños. A Bulldog would come on there, and they're like, hey, you got to fall into the politics here with us. And he's like, hell no. Nah. And they smashed him. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. And it's crazy. And what the comment I was told when I asked, I asked one of them, I was like, hey, man, why are y'all doing it? I thought y'all your own people. He's like, man, to each their own. So I was just like, so y'all just getting in where y'all fit in.
Survival, maybe, you mean?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But one thing they did not do, though, is they slammed them. Every time you go to, every time before they hit a yard, they slammed them and say, to see where they're going to fall in line with. Then they'll talk. See, one thing I say about SIS, before they let a lot of people out, so they get slaughtered, they talk to the groups and let them know, hey, man, look, can this person walk? Because we're finna let them out, And I've seen a Northerner come out all by himself. He's like, man, he tell them, I'm not checking in. I'm not signing no paperwork. I'll get smashed, but put me out there. And I seen the vice versa with the Sureños too. You see what I'm saying? And Texas FAMAS, I seen a TS come on a yard full of paisas and Sureños and Tango Blast. He came out there by himself. They brought him there for a heart surgery. because it was the closest hospital to the prison, and he had to go there for a special heart surgery. His name was Memo. He came from El Reno. He came in there, pulled out 2 knives. He said, "I'll go to war." Instead of smashing them, they went to the administration, told them to get them off the yard.
Oh, wow. Now, you told a story about, I think it was the Barrio Aztecas, where they rushed the yard to the metal detectors. They were stabbing,
my God.
They were stabbing dudes on the fence and everything.
Man, they were stabbing dudes on the fence. It was a slaughter. It was just the handball courts. It was just crazy, man. I mean, so basically what ended up happening is the war had kicked off. So I got to, when I was in Kentucky, the Sureños already had took off. I mean, the Aztecas already had took off on the Sureños. Okay, it hadn't exploded to the rest of the joints yet because kites haven't got shot out. I ended up getting shipped to Beaumont Disciplinary. So what ended up happening is when I got to Beaumont, the Aztecas were there. They were walking with the Sureños. I guess the Aztecas, see, that's their back door. They're in Texas. They finally get the call, hey, full blood war, take off on site. So the Sureños are out there. They're playing handball. They're functioning, doing their thing. But they're not all grouped up. They're scattered out without the yard. And they call it 5-minute, outbound move. You have inbound, outbound. So they call it outbound move. So all of a sudden, I worked on the rec yard. I was sitting out there with one of my boys in front of the CO shack. And I look over and all you seen is just a bunch of people just coming to the center, all in their winter coats, their beanies, their boots, gloves, suited and booted. And all I heard was, Dale, and they just took off running. The 3 COs that work, it's always 2 rec officers and 1 CO that works where the gate is going into the rec yard with the metal detectors.
Yeah.
Man, when they seen that whole rush, it was like 100 of them. They just ran to the side.
So let me know how serious was this riot, man? I mean, how bad did it get?
Man, it was bad. To where a person had lost his life 3 times. They brought him back. One of the Sureños that was actually, I think he was in the unit next to me. His name was Conan. And he died 3 times on the basketball court. And they brought him back. I mean, it was pretty bad, man. There was a bloodshed everywhere. It was probably 5-1. They were caught off guard.
Where was the riot that you talked about where the dudes were trying to climb over the fence and they kept on stabbing?
That was there. That one was the racial riot. So what ended up happening is that one of the Crips from Texas, a black Crip, has stole some drink from one of the Tango blasts.
I got a special guest coming in. Bam.
Hey,
Gunner's coming in real quick, man. From Gunner's Collective, man. This is the homie Drama from Latin Kings. I don't know if you checked out his video, man.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
I definitely tapped in with it, man. Amor Rey. Shout out to the Latin Kings. A very structured group, man, that I can identify with being norteño from Northern California for so many years. I see the similarities,
Right.
So respect, man. Respects to that organization. Respects to people that have overcome.
Thank you, man. Same thing. Like I've done a lot of time with a lot of your homeboys. One of my best friends that's also a Northerner. He's from Modesto. His name's Martin. Good dude. I got a lot of love for him. He's doing big things out here in Atlanta with us. So, I mean,
he's talking about a race. He's talking about a race riot that happened in Bowman, man, where the body of Aztecas right now, man. You got some vicious stories, bro.
Yeah, man. So, what's kind of the breakdown on the Latin Kings? So you're talking about federal prison. So federal prison, who do they click up with? Who do they identify with? Or are they just pretty much their own entity?
So basically, we're our own people, but as we're more closer to home, we consider like Greenville, Terre Haute, a lot of the Midwest spots. We consider them our back door, our home, because it's right there. But the more out west we get, we pretty much it's upon our own discretion. We'll click up with the homies, and what I mean is we have this thing called the coalition, the Midwest Coalition, and where it'll be us, the Vice Lords, the Latin folks, any ally that's out of the People Nation, or just homeboys that want to be aids and assists that want to ride with us, and will accept us, and we'll protect each other's back and follow the same laws and rules, check paperwork, look out for each other and make sure we do our time correctly like it's supposed to be. so we can get home to our families.
Exactly. That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, man. I know I've never done federal time, only state time. So I know there's a vast differences there, because you got people from all around the country. So right. I know you kind of adapt from yard to yard, prison to prison. If
correct.
From what I've heard. Whereas in state, it's one set program. That's what we got coming. You already know. It doesn't matter what yard you go to. It's branch and union. Everyone should basically be running it the same.
Correct.
Yeah, the trip, man. I appreciate you, man. I just wanted to tap in and say what's up to you guys.
Hey, man. I just got onto your show too. What really got me in was the convert perspective with Flacco and Rojo. I watch their podcast every morning on the way to work. Then I seen you on a few, and then I'm starting to watch some of yours. So like I said, it's caught a lot of my mindset on the Northerners because I did a lot of time with them, and they're kind of like a mirror reflection with us. I'm not saying that we started, but I'm just saying that we resemble each other in many different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all hip with each other. The only difference is just that like me and him were talking about where we actually have an opportunity where when it's time for us to leave that lifestyle and move on to create our families, we have the opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, out west, it's not like that. It's blood in, blood out to death. And it's kind of sad because us as a Hispanic community or just as an organization or a group or whatever you want to call it, the whole ending of it should be we should be able to help lift our people to get better. You see what I'm saying? Yes, we put in our work, we established ourselves, but what's wrong with a Northerner becoming a lawyer or a doctor, real estate agent, or whatever? The same thing with the king. I mean, or anything else. You know what I'm saying? You want to open doors and opportunities for our brothers to get out of the hood to get better.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Establish yourselves. You know what I'm saying?
And so and I wanted to ask you this question, man, because now that I can pick your brain a little bit. So I know that the motherland is in Chicago, right?
Correct.
The motherland's in Chicago, and I know that you guys got a big following in New York. Are there vast differences between Chicago and New York as far as the movement, or is it all under one?
Oh yes, night and day. See, I mean, like over there, it's like I said. I used to go. I was telling Flacco in my last video I used to go out there. I got family out there in the Bronx, and I used to go out there every summer. My uncle worked in the unions over there. I go over there, work with him during the summer, play baseball, whatever, And I was already a member with my boys. And when I went out there, I had a couple incidents with them where they do things opposite from us. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna see it in Chicago, but if you get caught, we'll smash them. But over there,
something about the charter. There's a third. Yeah. There was potential a third faction that tried to branch off. Gunner.
Right. So you have us. That's KMC. Our literature's KMC, and then it's the original literature, and then you have New York, which is Bloodline. You see what I'm saying? Bloodline. And that Bloodline is basically something that King Blood had grabbed. He was originally from Humboldt Park, from Chicago. He got kicked out of Chicago, from what my understanding is from the history. He got ran off. He left to New York. He was doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing. He already had been violated. He got pushed off from the nation. He went out there, formed this unity within Puerto Ricans, and created Latin Kings out there. But he grabbed our literature and rewrote it to his own benefit. You see what I'm saying? And added more. More to it. You know what I'm saying? It kind of got a little bit watered out. Then somebody from there went to Connecticut and they formed what you call a charter. So then you have the kings and queens in there. They rewrote theirs to fit them. But now what happens is now they're led wrong. They're led blindly. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And now when they come into the federal system, they're like, oh, where are these kings coming from? We thought we were the only kings. No. Y'all gonna fall in line correctly. You know what I'm saying? You're still our brothers. Y'all believe in what we believe in, but we're gonna teach you correctly how the things are supposed to be done, or you get smashed off the yard.
Does everybody respect, as you guys being the originators? Whereas we respect the founding fathers, basically. We all have one, you know, and then that's it.
Right.
No one's ever going to switch it up. Everyone that knows their history is laced up that way to know your history, and we respect that. Of course, you're going to always have people like King Blood who mislead the people and water it down for their own benefits. You know, he's going to implement his philosophies in it because it benefits him and what he's got going on. That's understandable. People do that. But when they get to the federal system or when they get around you, do they recognize you guys as the founders, as the group that's really the dominant group?
They do, but you know, like I said, they were already instilled with King Blood. Now, don't get me wrong, what happened with Blood, you know, as him doing the process he went about creating them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. In the long run, it made us stronger. It's going to bring us more together as a whole. We accept it. If Blood was to walk into the USPs and they let him out of ADX, he will be embraced. He will be respected because he created a movement that added on to our beloved nation. You know what I'm saying? Just at the end of the day, it's our job to help correct some of the mistakes that were made. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, the same thing that's happened in Connecticut. And, you know, like I said, we give them the opportunity. We embrace them. And I met a lot of good brothers, man, from New York, New Jersey. New Jersey's already pretty much all flipped over to KMC now. And some of King Blood's co-defendants, they're in the system now. They were locked up with our main jefes, and we got nothing but love for them, and they go 100 all the way for us. You know, they were in Pollock and McCurry and Beaumont, and
what's the end game for the Latin Kings? Meaning, like, I know ours, you know, was basically social status of equality. We wanted to be treated equal. We wanted them same rights. We wanted to be able to go to these yards in prison and walk freely and, you know, be amongst our people and just have our little piece, our corner. We weren't asking for too much, but we wanted to be treated equal. That's what it was about, to overcome oppression. So what's your guys' end game? I mean, what is the Latin Kings all about?
So basically, at the beginning, it was basically about protecting our Latino race. Because, you know, when it was first created, you know, you had all these Puerto Ricans migrating to Chicago, and, you know, they were being bullied on by the African Americans and the white society. You had these little racial groups, and they just came together as a group. They, you know, formed this to protect their people. But what ended up happening is that now it became a spider web. You know, like, and what I mean is that a seed was planted and it spread out into a vine. So now you have people that want to be like, well, you know what? I don't like what I'm seeing here, so I'm going to go off and branch off, create my own chapter over here. But then the original Kings are like, no, y'all can't. If y'all don't have permission from us to do this, then y'all can't call yourselves Latin Kings. So guess what happens? Okay, we're going to change our names. Now we're going to call ourselves the Maniac Latin Disciples. You see what I'm saying? Now there's a war breaking out. You know what I mean? Then here comes another seed that branches off. Then another, then another, then another. But at the end of the day, it all became to where it was all about protecting our people. We wanted equal rights, equal opportunities, protect our neighborhoods, you know, and have the same opportunities every other race was having. You know?
So basically every past gang member, current gang member, every organization is all founded on the same principles, basically in the same beliefs, meaning they just want equality. That's it.
Except for one group, but we're not going to go there.
Well, you know, there's one group that's different, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But I'm saying for the most part, the majority of the groups, that's what they want, you know, equality and to protect our people. So everything is started as a great cause, and it's individuals that utilize these organizations, this manpower, these soldados, to benefit their pockets or benefit their philosophy. That's it. That's basically what it is in a nutshell for all gangs, for the most part.
You should hear the story he told about Little Troy.
Oh yeah. So I was when I was in Beaumont, man, Little Troy came on the yard, right?
Okay.
And before basically you'll usually get the inmates, they work in laundry, they'll get a low list, inmate list with names and numbers of individuals that are coming on the yard. So Little Troy's name came up on that list. So they shoot it out to their homeboys like, hey, he's finna come on the yard. Little Troy was hot. He had told on a bunch of people, had his old lady set up a bunch of his homeboys. Some Houston boys like, yo, we're going to poke them up. So this one particular day, they bring in a busload of people to the yard. Now, the yard is set up round. You know, it's round. It's got a big circle in the middle, and they're coming out of R&D. We're watching from the fence. Usually, we're watching from the fence. Yo, what's up, homie? Where you from? Who you run with? Woo, woo. And I don't know how these boys, dealing with no movement, were out there. Where they came from, they just came running out from somewhere. I don't have no clue. But when they see little Troy walking with about 15 inmates and the CO leading them to the units. When that CO seen them boys running towards him with them knives, that CO ran for his life.
Oh, yeah.
Your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, okay. So what ended up happening is hold on, let me turn this up a little bit. My bad. All right. So what ended up happening is little Troy made a 360, ran back to the lieutenant's office, was banging on the window. Let me in. It was a wrap.
I guess that day he didn't want to be a baller, shot caller.
Bro, the one group that I've been learning about that he's told me about, man, is the Barrio Aztecas. Ain't no joke, bro.
Oh, I you know what? I was going to do something. I was going to profile them pretty soon. And, yeah, they're a different, very
this race riot. Tell me about this race riot we were about to discuss.
Oh, okay. So the race riot. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So what happened is, so the Tango Blast, they were big. You know, it's that backyard, man. And there's about 300-400 of them on the yard. And push come to shove, you know, they had the pistol on lock. They had the hooch on lock. So it kicked off in my unit. What ended up happening is that there was one, he was from El Paso. He used to stash his liquor in the showers in the ceiling. One of the black Crips seen it. So they went and jacked the pistol. One of the blasts seen him. The Crips got drunk on it. So the blast approached them like, hey, man, y'all took our drink. What's up? Nah, we ain't take nothing. So what happened is they went to the Crips on the yard, and they're like, hey, listen, man, this, that, and the other. Y'all going to clean this up? Y'all going to pay us back? How we going to do this? No, we ain't finna do nothing. Get it like Tyson. So the Blast said, all right. So the Blast got together, told all the Latinos, they're finna crank it up. They turned around, caught them on the yard, chasing them, stabbing them. They grabbed the pool sticks in the pool hall because they had a pool hall. They were whacking them with the pool sticks. One of the Crips, the one that stole the drink, his name was Slim. No, his name was C-Note. That's what his name was. He was up at he was trying to climb the fence. He got caught up in the barbed wire, hanging upside down. And they were whacking him, stabbing him. It was crazy, man. All I know, man, there were pellets and bullets man, it was ridiculous.
Hey, that goes back to the old saying, drugs, gambling, and stealing. Those are the three things in prison, man, that you absolutely cannot get involved in.
No, man.
No. Every time.
There's a lot of groups that I never heard of. Like he was talking about the Pistoleros.
Yeah, they're Texas Fama.
Yep.
Yeah, Pistoleros, man. I sit there and I watch one of them kill their own, man. And they called it a coward, and it wasn't. He was by himself. You know, we were at commissary. The TCB, there was some Texas Chicano brothers that were on the yard. There was a couple of them. They got their kite, said that they got a war with the Pistoleros, take off on them. They got the green light. The Pistoleros didn't even know. The Pistolero was actually with us at commissary. He's on his way back to the unit, carrying his bag. We look up. These two TCBs are chasing him with knives, man. He drops his commissary. He's running for his life. I'm going to be real with you, man. If it's one of my guys, save your life, save it for another day. Hey, we'll get
we come back.
What it is.
Yeah, we come back stronger.
Right. Yeah. But the Pistoleros, they took it as cowardice. So
yeah, he stood his ground. Yeah.
Right. So when he came out the hole, they had a little get together. He already been down like 14 and a half years. He was about to go home, man. He was a good dude. I had a lot of respect for him. And they took him up over by the storm drains and they stomped him out. So they thought that when they stomped him out, he was just knocked out cold. So all of them, they called the 5-minute inbound move back to the units. We're standing by the gate. This guy's not moving, man. So one of the Pistolero waits till the rest of his homeboys goes to the unit. Then he walks up to the CO and tells her, hey, I just stomped out one of my homeboys. You might want to go pick him up. She's like, what? He's like, yeah. And the reason why he did that is because somebody's got to take the fall so they don't take the rest of the car to the hole.
Yeah, he took it for the people. Yeah.
Right. So what ended up happening is, you know, the lady's like, hey, stay right here. I'm going to go check it out. So he's standing right there like it's nothing. Listen to his little MP3 player. She walks over there. She looks down. She grabs her foot. She's like pushing on his body, and he's not moving. So she comes back. She's like, listen, you did that by yourself? He's like, yeah. She hit the deuces. So it says, recall, everybody back to the units. And he's like, you know he's dead. He's like, what? His whole face just turned white.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's too late now. It's over.
Yeah. You just admitted what you just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. The guy that stamped him out, he only had a couple months left. He was just there in re-entry, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, you know? it's that's part of gang life, man. That's the harsh reality of gangs, man.
What other Latino gangs are in there that are kind of prevalent in the system, though? Because, like, I'm trying to learn a little bit about different ones.
You got Barrio Aztecas, but I know the TCB, Texas Chicano, aren't they Tri-City Bombers? That was their name before.
Okay, there's two of them. So what happened is there used to be together. There's the Chicano brothers, and then there's the Tri-City Bombers. There was a Tri-City Bomber there too, long hair. They
don't get along with Blast, right?
They didn't get along with Blast, but they let him walk. You know what I'm saying? Because he was there by himself. So, supposedly he was there already. He had came back on violation. He was there before. So he had an understanding with him. And he was there. Then the two Chicano brothers came on the yard. Then they went up in the shower. They took care of their business. And then they squashed their beef and they were walking. Then you have, so the Texas Farmers that were there. There was Aztecas there once upon a time. TS wasn't there anymore because they had got into it with they had took off on the Houstones and stabbed a bunch of them up, so they got rid of them. The Texas Merecidos, they were there. They were deep. Them boys were deep. But what was bad, it was just like they had a lot of bad seeds, man. It was like every time somebody got there, he was a shot caller, and then all of a sudden they were smashing them off the yard. You know what I mean? Then another bus would come and then somebody else would take over the car and then they would smash somebody. And it was just like a reoccurring thing. Like they always had a lot of mess going on.
So was there only Texas gangs at this place, this federal prison?
No.
How did the California car move? Did they move together or were they separated by?
Okay, so as the Sureños were there and anybody that was from Southern California that was Latino, they ran with the Sureños. You know what I'm saying? And
residents,
yeah, they were residents. They pretty much Sureños pretty much just told them, hey, where you from? You from LA? Yeah. Oh, you running with us.
Period.
You're running or you're off the yard. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're just letting them know. You know, but then you had the Arizona was running with they set with them because you know the chow hall, they have their sections. Then the cells belong to every group, you know.
Okay.
Everybody has their house. So we had our houses, they had their houses, and they only sell within their home. We were the only.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
We were the only group that was actually selling with Africanos. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. Like Here's a group that I did a spill on. I did a spill on actually the one of the main guys from there, and it's someone you might want to look into it too, Flaco. The SNMers. Were you there with any SNMers there from New Mexico? The Sindicato.
They were there. There was one. There was only one.
Yeah, they're with that business. Them guys.
Yeah. He was there. He was solid. He was in my unit. Light skinned dude. I can't remember his name. Gordito. He had it tatted on his back, real big. But he ran with the Sureños.
Yeah, that's what they.
So New Mexico, Arizona, and Southern California run together. The Northerners, who are they rocking with mainly? So
basically, the Northerners, they'll pretty much they all walk the yard with all the Texas Farmers. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you play a Texas Farmers, and I mean Texas Syndicate, the Barrio Aztecas, the Texas Merecidos, the Pistoleros, the Tri-City Bombers, anybody out of Texas, we walk on them yards. What else is on them yards?
And you guys can kind of walk either side, right?
Yeah, we can walk either side. I mean, we had one issue with the Border Brothers once upon a time, but they're pretty much non-existent now. because they're getting smashed pretty much by everybody, man. They're just
the BBs.
They got it. They're getting it bad. You know what I mean?
And so, what about some of these? Okay, so you guys being Latin Kings, Chicago, Motherland. What about these other guys like Trinitarios and Netas and all that? How do they walk in the feds? Do they do it East Coast?
Man, the Nietas, they govern themselves. They do their own thing. I've met some good ones, but I met a lot of bad ones. I'm gonna say it like this, man. I seen a lot of them that were on that homosexual activity, and you know, we had an incident with them where they had a couple ex-cops from the island running with them, and that's just a no-no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
There was a couple of them that were hot, and they were running with them. You know what I mean? And you know, from what I heard, there was an incident that happened in USP Cannon where they had a pack with my boys out there in USP Cannon and left in the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And the beef wasn't even with my boys. It was with the Nietas and the Paisas. And my boys were like, all right, we'll come out there and assist you. My boys packed up, knifed up. When they went out there was not a Nieta out there, and my boys got slaughtered.
Mm.
You talking about 300-400 Paisas on like 40 or 50 Kings. You know what I mean? And I mean, or associates. You see what I'm saying? And it wasn't even their beef. You know,
that's ugly.
And that was ugly, man. My boys.
Well, I've always heard that organization, the Netas, are pretty grimy, bro. As far as their dealings, and dealings.
A lot of dope fiends. A lot of dope fiends, man.
And what about the Trinitarios? What about the Trinitarios? Because I know I heard that they didn't.
Man, let me tell you something. Okay, there was one that was with me. His name was Flaco. He was from Boston. Good dude. He sat with us. He was the only Trinitario that sat with us. On his case, he told us that we seen his paperwork, but I didn't really get a count. So out of his case, I think there was like maybe 60 or 70 of them on his case, and only maybe about 3 or 4 of them held strong.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And he was just like, any Trinitario that got there, he told him straight up, I'm not rolling with you. I'm going to sit right here with the Kings. You know what I mean? And he was a good dude. He already had like 14 years in. I was with one in Beaumont, and I was cool with him at first. His name was Negro, and he was Trinitario. He was from Manhattan. And, you know, one day he was like, hey, man, let me get on that workout routine with you. I was like, all right, man, you want to get on a workout routine with me? Okay, cool. Well, before we take that next step, let's go get your work. And he's looking at me like, what do you mean? I said, go get your paperwork, man.
Oh, right off the top. Yeah.
You know, because before we get in a program where we're going to work out together, where we're trusting each other to watch, over each other's back, and I'm showing you what I got, you show me what you got, I need to see your paperwork, and I'm going to show you mine. And he refused, and I just cut it from there. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's absolutely correct, because when you're working out, man, you guys are basically each other's security, you know?
Right,
right. Because you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, you know, you're becoming
right.
Where you can get, and you know, a lot of people will victimize you when they catch you slipping, you know? It's just like the streets, you know? So you have to be able to trust that guy, and you have to be able to trust that he's in good standings, basically.
Well, the DC blacks were interesting too, bro, that he was talking about.
Man, yeah, the DC blacks were, they was nasty. Hey, well, they be on that homosexual activity, like, it was crazy, man.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them too, man, you know, a lot of them were dope fiends, and they were just stealing. But I met a couple of them, man, that were just like, they were solid dudes, but it was not many, but they were about the business, though. I
heard they're very militant. They kind of resemble the Black Guerrilla family in a sense, but I heard they're a little bit wild too. I don't know. You know, I mean,
they'll go. I'll tell you that right now. Just push come to shove, they'll go.
They got numbers.
Yeah. The numbers is just unbelievable, man. And the reason is because they have no state laws. So anything that they catch from a fucking jaywalking charge, they go right into the federal system. You know what I'm saying? So
you didn't see the previous interview, huh, Gunner?
Well, I've watched them. Yeah, I've watched them.
Oh, so you heard? Okay, so you heard about Skip and all that.
Yeah, I've heard about all that.
Yeah. Good dude, good solid dude. I had a few conversations with him, man. You know, when he was getting ready to go to Pollock, he didn't stay too long in the hole in OKC through the transfer center. You know, I ended up going to GP and to the Northern tank on the 6th floor, and he ended up getting shipped out. But you know, they also, the way they shipped him, people like in his status or the Black Hand, when they get on the plane, they have these cages in there. They have I think I've seen about 4 of them on one of them, where they'll put them in that cage and lock them in there.
Yeah, they're high control. That's just like the movie Con Air. You know, where
they something similar to that.
Yeah, and they got to have controlled movements around the country just based on their status and people like that. If them guys were ever to hit the streets, I mean, it could be, you know, their influence is so vast. You know,
there was one. I was when we were getting on the plane, right? And we were getting on the plane in USP Atlanta. He was a Northerner. He had the big 14 on his face, and they had him in there. And he was going to Allenwood. That's where he was going.
That's a dominant Northern.
Yeah, USP Allenwood. Yeah, he was on his way up there. But then when I was also in the tanks with my boy Mad Dog, he was a Northerner from Iowa, and a few other Northerners over there. Any Northerner that was coming in there, they were asking him, that was already in the system, they were asking him, hey, what joint you coming from? And if they said Forest City, they were smashing them for some reason. And from what they were getting is that a lot of them that were going to Forest City were on bad status. And the ones I know, El Reno, they were pretty much on good status, you know.
Mendoza, El Reno.
It could have been a soft yard drop.
Lewis.
Yeah, I think it was a drop off yard. Same thing, like it's what is it, Coleman 2? I think it is Coleman 2 is a drop off yard. Coleman 1 is an active yard for the Northerners. I know I had about 100 brothers over there. That's a stronghold for the Northerners too over there.
So it's no different from the state, I guess, over here where fucking Northerners have good yards you can go to and bad yards. Mm-hmm. Just pretty much dictates by who's there, I guess.
Any Northern riders?
Any riders? I met one, but he couldn't get on a yard. You know what I mean, it's just the administration were like, okay, you're from Northern California. We're not going to take the chance of putting you on a Southern yard because they might slaughter you. You know what I mean? They don't want that blood on their hands. We're not going to put you on the Northern yard because they're going to slaughter you. So we're going to probably just wait until the system gets tired of moving you around, and then we'll send you to a drop-off yard. You know, like Tucson.
What's your opinion on the MS? Do you think the MS could really make a statement in the feds?
Yes. Yeah. They'll eventually, because they have the numbers, man. You know, people fail to understand, and let's just get real technical about this. Yes, you're right. You do have some MS in Southern California, and they can scream all they want. Oh, they're in LA, bro. People have to get out of that mindset. That's from Southern California. Southern California doesn't run the world. It isn't the only place in the United States. Okay, there's strongholds everywhere. DC, VA, Texas. They're huge in Texas, Florida. Same thing goes for the Northerners. They're everywhere. They're here in Atlanta. I know a whole bunch of them out here. You see what I'm saying? And if people wanted to divide out and conquer, they can. You know what I mean? And the MS, they're gonna make their name, man. And it's funny that you say that, because when I was on my way to my last joint, I was at the holdover here at USP Atlanta in the hold, and there was probably maybe about 20 of them getting ready to go. They caught a fake case out here in Atlanta for a bunch of murders, man, on some 18th Street guys. They're getting ready to go into the system. That's a lot. And them boys were with the business out here, man. They're youngsters. And they're going to fall right in line. They don't know nothing about California. All they know is about MS. You see what I'm saying? And wherever they hit, they're going to rock with their boys, man.
Yeah, so that could potentially be a vicious war right there.
Yeah. Because
he said the MS pretty much outnumbered the Sureños in there, right?
They did. When I was in Beaumont, the Sureños had stepped to them, and there was a ton of shitload of them. They were like, "Hey, y'all are gonna fall in line with us on our program." No, we ain't.
Yeah, that could possibly be more vicious. Probably the most vicious war we're probably ever gonna. If it materializes to the degree that it could probably be potentially the most vicious war ever. Right. Because of the numbers and the viciousness on both sides. You know, whereas with the North and South wars, Northerners were always the minority. Right. Always. There's never a lot of us on the system. In the system. It's just the way it is. But with MS being the more now, this is not. It's different, Flacco, and it's very key. This is
that stuff is interesting, bro. Well, it's crazy.
It's the opposite now, where the MS is actually the dominant group, or not. I'm saying dominant group, but I mean they got the numbers. Where now the Southerners are going to experience what we experienced being the minority. It's gonna be a trip. See how they handle it. You know, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna handle it, but it's gonna be a trip to watch.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been on some yards where the MS did fall function with the Sureños, and they did fall in their program, but they didn't have the right caller there. Let the right, correct shot caller get there and be like, "What? No, what are you doing? No, they don't call shots for us. Now we'll assist them, but we're not taking calls from them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and they're going to do their own program. And I guarantee you that's what happened down in Beaumont. The right head shot caller got there. One of the guys from the Southern was like, "Hey, listen, you're going to foul line." No, we ain't, and took flight. Because them boys are with the business, man. They'll butcher. They're about that knife play.
Who was one of the most powerful leaders or shot callers you were around in the Fed system that you've seen and witnessed?
Man, let me tell you something, man. Skip was one of them. I seen the power he controlled when, my boy Martin told me he was there. He was in on that function, how everything went down over there in Sheridan. The way they just set it off, the Sureños told him he can't walk, that they need to make sure he stays off our yard. Skip sent out that kite to them, let them know, hey, be prepared. When I get out this door, we're taking flight. And the way that they did it, they caught them off guard and they slaughtered them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard.
Not just him, but I'm gonna throw one right at you. The ABT, the Aryan Brothers of Texas. I was with all my artwork I got down on my chest. All my ink was done by him. Now you gotta understand that them dudes are very militant, man. When that shot caller says go, they're gone.
And they're rocking with Norteños too. I heard ABT is.
Hey, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here, gentlemen. I got a very important call, but hey, I appreciate you, brother. And I'll definitely tap in with you.
Take care.
It's more than tap in, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta get up out of here. I got some important stuff going on. Hey, thank you, brother. All right, I'm out.
Be safe there, man. Take care.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of them, his name was Silent, man. Good dude. When he showed me right respect. When I got on the yard, he was in the cell next to me. He came to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm such and such. I call it for my boys here and all the whites. If you got a problem with any of them, bring it to me. I'll clean it up." I said, same goes with me and my people. You know what I mean? Showed mad respect, but they are with the business, man. I've seen them kill a couple people on the yard, and them boys do not play.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Anyways, we got so much more to go through. I think this is over 55 minutes, bro. As always, man, the brother right here, man, I'm gonna bring him back on again, guys, because he got some stories about the streets and so forth. Yeah. But let's not remember, man, the good things that he's doing now. He's gonna be getting married pretty soon. He works, he manages a lot of people, he helps people with jobs. And we were talking, we both suffer from some of the similarities. We both have fucking anxiety.
Yes,
everything has to be perfect. If it doesn't go the way it wants it, we have to fucking address it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But
I bring everything with facts, man. Everything is facts. You got to bring facts to me, man. And it's one thing I just want to go ahead and say to a lot of people, man, is, in the last interview we did that didn't get recorded correctly, is remember your loved ones, man, that are locked up behind bars, man.
Oh yeah, most
You'll
definitely.
be surprised how much a letter or a card goes a long way. You know what I mean? Don't just love them when they're here. Love them when they're gone also. You see what I'm saying? You'll be surprised how much you'll be able to change a person's life, and just be supportive, man. Be supportive, stay strong. For those coming out the system that say that there's no doors, yes, there is. Just try. I came home, I had to start all over again. I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
Man. I own my own house. I'm a big supervisor for a big company, making a corporate company, making great money. I got a beautiful woman that she's not even growing up in the lifestyle I have, but she's very understandable. She listens to me. She's patient.
That's hard.
And it's hard, and I love her dearly for it. So just at the end of the day, I'm here. If that you feel that you would like to have some opportunities, I have connections with people and in different places and companies, and reach out to me, leave a message, and I'll try to help you to my best ability. I don't care who you are or what color you are or where you come from. If you want change and you want it, reach out to me.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. We're going to tap in the future, man, because these are some good stories, and they kind of show what the life's really about, man. Anyways, it's your boy Flacco, special guest drama. We're out.
Peace out.